Great. All right. Well, people can come in as they want. Um, I'll just say a few words and then we can just have a talk. Um, so um, once again, all there is this. All there is what's happening, apparently. This is just what is. There's nobody that needs to add anything to this. This is just absolutely what there is. There's nothing else. Yeah, there's um, no extra free bits that are special that you need to get or something that you need to find. This isn't about finding anything. This is just actually about a complete collapse of looking for something. This isn't hard. This isn't difficult at all. This is not something that you need to work out. It's just what is. It's just this. I mean, that's it. There's not any kind of codification in this description, which is kind of gonna, somehow, get into your brain and eventually something's gonna happen. This is just the end of seeking. It's just the end of seeking. It's the end of needing to. It's the end of having the energy to do that. It's just simply this. And in that simplicity, there's just aliveness. There's just there's just newness. Everything's new. Everything's just in that free fall of what is. And there is a sort of deafening silence to that. There is a sense that there isn't a need for that constant conversation to keep going, that constant story that seems to be there, that just sort of falls apart. It doesn't need to be there. Doesn't need to be a narrative anymore. There doesn't need to be anybody telling a story to anybody else. There's just this. So anyway, we can talk about that. Um, we can um, we can discuss whatever you want. There's no place that is in outside of what is. So we can just talk about that. This is just a free conversation. Anything you want to talk about, we can go there. Um, and yeah, if we don't want to talk, we don't have to talk either. So yeah, it's already everything. Nothing needs to be done. Hi, Katie.
Hi, David. Thanks for
Hi.
that.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Nice to see you. Yeah.
Nice to see you too. Um, so I have a tendency to think that these meetings are special
Yeah.
because, like, especially energetically, yeah, you're already like, no.
No, no, there's nothing special here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
And but isn't there a difference? I know I hear the but. Like
Yeah.
a difference energetically between someone who, has had that like shift, if you will, or the end of seeking versus someone who is still seeking. And
Well, I mean, there's just an you could say it's just an emptying out of that sort of tension of seeking. It's just, not seeking. I mean, actually, it's a bit like I think Katie's here. Oh no, there you are. I think in a way, it's like speaking to somebody who's asleep. There's nobody. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like
Somehow, yeah.
but it's not an somehow a kind of wow, it's a really God, that doesn't happen. No, I mean this happens all the time. This is constantly apparently happening here, yes, in there also. There's a the me state. The me state is a fluctuating thing. It's not a real thing. It's not a separate entity called me. So it's not like it's not like this has something. This has nothing. There is nothing. There's just actually the end of seeking. It's just the end of seeking. It's the end of that whole energy of seeking. And so it's and that apparently falls away in different people at certain, so, during a 24-hour period, if you want to describe it like that. It's like that can just completely fall away.
Mm.
It's just not necessarily noticed, and what is also seems to be is that in that very deep sleep, of course, there isn't any me at all. So this isn't something that's somehow extraordinary to the body. The body totally understands this. That completely understands what is being expressed here.
Yeah.
This is not a weird state of some kind. This is just the breaking down of that which seeks. No one breaks that down. It just seems to fall apart.
Mhm.
So I mean, you could, in a sense, the meeting of the meeting is like walking into a sort of room where there isn't anything. It's walking into an empty room. I mean, if that's about as significant as it gets, that's about as special as it gets. It's kind of like just walking into a room where there's no one there, relative to walking into a room while there's loads of people with loads of stories going on, right? So that's the equivalent that I'm trying to give you a sort of equivalent thing, which shows you how special this is. This isn't special at all. It's absolutely normal. This is like talking to the cupboards, So you'll get, as I've said before, you get the same, you'd get this, the same level of conversation.
Yeah. That's really moving somehow. I don't know. Um, just the simplicity of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice in one way in that there isn't that lack of specialness. The me is always looking for specialness. It's in a certain sense that's um the whole story of me is really about becoming special, and needing to have that specialness, and this is the total failure of all forms of attempting to get something special. This is the end of that. So it's a poverty of specialness.
Mm. It's really beautiful, actually. Yeah, I can see how again, like you said, over the course of a 24-hour period, how often there is like a wanting to know or wanting like what's
Yeah.
next. Just all it seems like happening on its own of like next, next, next.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the fever, that's the fever of the me state, you could say. It's sort of like a fever. It's sort of it's all and a hallucination about past and future and where am I in that, what do I need to do next in order to position my life so that it's going to get better. That's the thing. And how can I avoid what happened in the past in order to position myself so I can get better? It's always about betterment, getting somewhere. So, this is what this is actually is incredibly practical, but without it, with a total absence of ambition. It's deeply practical and completely without ambition.
You mean practical in the sense that it's just what it is.
It's just what it is. This is practical for the function of the body. The
Mm.
body just functions naturally without there being any sort of extra bits, the extra stuff. It doesn't need any of that. It's this all of the other stuff is just kind of it's in a way it's frivolous. It's the me state is a sort of frivolous sort of romantic flourish. It's completely unnecessary for the function of the body. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of happens on its own though at the same time. Like
Yeah,
it's
totally. Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's and completely natural. I mean, it's a fever. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Thank you. That's
Yes,
really
pleasure.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, David. Katerina here. I don't have good internet, so I'm not going to put the video on. Hi.
No problem, Katerina. Hi. Nice,
How
nice
are
to
you?
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when you say this is all there is, what you mean by this is what our five human senses can collect as information.
I mean, that's what you've just said. The collecting of information, that is a story. That's a story about a scientific ideology about how the brain collects information. So that's an idea, a story about what seems to be happening. But this is without that story. It is just what is without a story about it. It's empty of story. It doesn't have any idea about what it is. This is completely unknowable. What is unknowable. This is unknowableness.
Sure, but still, isn't it this what you don't know what it is, but you see
No.
it, or you hear it, or you smell it, or isn't it
Well, I
based on
mean,
the senses?
that sounds like it's an it, and this isn't an it. It's all there is. So it's not it's there's not a subject and an object. In the scientific perspective, when you're looking at kind of phenomena, so there's phenomena over there, and then I've got senses over here, and then there's this interaction between the phenomena and the senses. And what is expressed here is that there is just what is, which means that the subject and object are completely dissolved. So there is no subject, there's no object, and simply, I mean dissolved because simply they are completely irrelevant. It's
Yes, fine, fine. Yeah, that
yeah,
cannot be understood. I mean, it's understood in a
no.
superficial way. But still, when you say this immediacy, what is this? This is,
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, a good question. I mean, I can't give you an answer to what this is. I mean,
because
this
you
is,
say this is all there is. You
yeah.
say this is all there is, but for a dog that can hear better, there is more than what we can hear. And for an eagle that can see better, there are. So why is this all there is? It's only based on what our senses can
Well,
tell.
that's going back to subject and objects. There's a set that it's the senses, and there are things outside. There's an inside and an outside in what you're describing. And so
That's how the
the
body works. I mean, the
well,
only
that's
thing
how
that
that no, that's not how necessarily how things are. That's how this story goes associated with that perspective, with the scientific ideology, which is just an ideology, and of course is completely flawed. So the nature of that, the nature of science is always at a standoff in a certain sense because it is always ignoring the aspects of subject and object, the nature of subject and object, which it cannot verify on any level. So all of these are the nature of how science works is through is by ignoring certain things.
right, but still you say um, that all there is the body there. There's nobody in the body. So what exists is the body mind. I mean, it exists in a large sense. Okay, maybe
I
it
don't
doesn't
say
really
that it
exist.
actually exists. I mean, to exist or
Mm.
not exist, that's in a certain sense, again, that's sort of
Okay, that's the
claiming.
wrong word. Okay, that's the wrong word. But all there is no me inside this body, but still this body
I
appears,
know.
right?
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if it appears, this body is definitely ruled by some physical laws, and that's, I mean, you can't say
Well,
you don't
I
believe
mean, this
them.
is again, this is the story that you're in, which is that you're saying that there are things called physical laws, and that is your belief in that, which is absolutely fine. That's just what's happening. There's plenty of different beliefs in that. What this is saying is that this doesn't have any knowledge of anything. This is not really. This doesn't. This is without an understanding of something. So there isn't any sense here of physical laws at all. There's no understanding of that at all. Very similarly to like a toddler speaking to a toddler, right? There's no understanding of physical laws. There's just what is. There's just this colors, energy. This is energy.
Mm. Fine, okay, like a toddler, but even if there is no understanding like a toddler, the toddler has to breathe. So the body cannot function without food or water or
Yeah,
breathing.
we're back in a story about what the body can do and what it can't do. I mean, that's okay, but I'm just saying that you're in a story about that.
Okay, but in the story, because the rest of us live in the story, uh,
Well, you think, yeah, I mean, that's what
that's
you
why
think
you're holding
you
the
do, yeah.
meetings.
Hmm.
Um, these rules apply. So why wouldn't they apply to your body? I
Well,
mean,
this isn't about the apparent the appearance of what seems like physical laws. That's what it seems to be. But what we're talking about is not really, yeah, really that. It's actually that what is not is not a story. It's not within a story. It doesn't have any. The story loses its meaning.
okay.
This can't be understood.
No, I realize that.
Okay.
that it cannot be understood.
Yeah.
But I thought that having an apparent body meant that, maybe you're not part of the story, but the body is part of, whatever, decay, or if you don't eat, you will lose weight. I mean, that might sound like a story, but isn't it valid for your body as well?
I mean, I don't have a body. This isn't, there isn't yeah,
Okay,
I think
isn't it
that's the point.
apparent?
I think,
Isn't it
yeah.
apparent for the body that is talking now? I mean,
Well, this, yes, I mean, in the sense that this body, just does what it does. It eats
mm,
when it's hungry. It drinks when it's thirsty. If this body didn't, then apparently there would be some other, situation. But it's a movement into a kind of hypothetical ideology.
okay.
It's sort of trying to create a story. What's going on
Mm,
there is sort of trying to create a sort of cause and effect idea, and sort of, and that's simply just the way that me works. It always has to see cause and effect. It always has to be in that continuum of cause and effect. It has to be one thing following another thing. So,
yeah.
so that's what I mean by a story. That's a sort of one thing following another thing. That's a story. What is doesn't have doesn't is just immediate. It's just immediacy. So there isn't a past. There isn't a future. There isn't a cause or effect. There's just what is.
It must be very, very different, extremely different from what we are
Well,
living. It must
it is
be.
exactly the same. It's except that there's just no story running.
It must feel different.
Yes, it's
Very
relaxing.
different.
It's relaxing
Okay.
because the story,
Mm,
in a certain sense, it's just very relaxing. There isn't just that there isn't a story that's sort of running, constantly trying to get somewhere or trying to understand everything.
mm,
Ultimately, me
mm.
has to try to understand everything because everything seems to be quite threatening in a certain way because it's unknowable, and if I'm separate from everything, then I've got to figure out what everything is doing and pin it all down so that to make sure that I'm going to be okay. But
Yes.
without that sense of being separate, there's nothing to it.
Also, I mean, there must never be boredom there. You must be thrilled all the time, sort of like,
Well, not thrilled all the time, but
but
boredom is
yeah,
less apparent. Yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
less of something that keeps on going on for sure. Because I mean, the only thing that gets bored is that which is trying to get somewhere.
mm,
If there isn't something trying to get somewhere, and everything, needing to, get better, and this isn't enough. I've got to get something else. So I've got to go over here and got to go over here. That energy is quite tense. So it's a
mm.
relief. This is a sort of relief.
Okay, thank you. Nice talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you too, Tasha.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, David.
Hi, Laura. Hi. How
Hi, good
are you
to see
doing? Hi.
you.
Yeah, you too.
When you just were saying this, there's no story going on.
Hmm.
That rang somehow a kind of a bell, like something like was like, and uh, it's like in a way, I could sense the that's how funny. I could sense the immediacy out of which you are somehow speaking. So is that then, is it a suggestion what you are actually sharing?
No, no, it's in a way it's a kind of description, although it's an impossibility to describe what is. But
Mm,
it's just that it's in a way there are certain words that have that sort of energy quality or certain sense here that I kind of like, so immediacy is my favorite. And then there are other words which are like aliveness and newness and these kind of things which kind of resonate here. So I
mm,
think that's why I use that. But
mm,
yeah, I think it's just the absence of that story. In the absence of that story, then what's expressed is just empty, and that's why I think I know what you're expressing there. Yeah, yeah,
mm. And also, it fascinates me that this is appearing as a dialogue, as a seemingly dialogue, but
yeah.
it's not really a dialogue, right?
No, no.
No.
It is. I mean, it's a response. There's a seeming response, but it's just energy. It's energy. It's all energy. There isn't a beginning or end to that. It's
Mhm.
not like two bits. You know, it just appears like that, but it's just yeah. There's no separateness.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. But I can, like, my mind tries to immediately create a sort of image, like a metaphor.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
absolutely. Oh yeah.
Immediately, it tries
Oh
immediately.
yeah, yeah. I used to do this. I did that all the time. Especially with certain kinds of phrases which were kind of quite a bit more complex.
Yeah.
I would sort of get into those phrases and sort of go, "What is it? Well, what does empty fullness mean? What does that look like? Is that like a glass which is exactly half full and half empty at the same time? Or what is it? What is that? So, and it might get me here, but in the end it's nothing to do with anything that is thought about or understandable,
Mhm.
because it is just the end of seeking. That's it. It's just the end of seeking. The plug gets pulled out, right? That's it. It's the end of seeking.
Yes. And that is like, in a way, immediately here. This,
Yeah,
yes, it's.
yeah, if for want of a better word. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's no location because the location is irrelevant. A lot of these things that people talk about is just simply because they're irrelevant. That
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not because there's it's been broken through or understood
Yeah.
or something like that. No, no, it's just absolutely irrelevant. This is a toddler, okay? It's not anything special. It's just actually that. It's
Yeah.
not it's not something clever, right?
Mm,
This is not a clever thing.
mm, 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 mm.
Well, it's not anything, in fact, but
Mm. And still, I would describe this in a way as attractive. It's, that
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
there's
for sure.
something attractive about this.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, because it's a longing for that sort of the burden in a certain sense of me to just kind of let go. That it's quite, that me is quite heavy,
Yes.
and essentially that body has got absolutely no use for it whatsoever. It's just this,
Yeah.
it's just sort of a heavy weight.
Yes.
So that what the longing is, that just sort of lets go,
Yes.
and apparently that seems to, it seems to be exactly that, but not through anything that anybody has done, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. The body cannot do any practice in order to.
Well, it wouldn't be doing any practice. It just
Yeah.
me that's trying to find something. So it
Yeah.
drives the body into practices. That's what, you know, that's the sort of resistance in a certain sense of the body. I mean, I have to say that the me, once again, as I've mentioned before, is this sort of one trick pony. It only does that. It only contracts. Right, and
Yeah.
that's all it does. It only knows how to do that. So it just does that with whatever
Oh,
there is.
yeah.
It's just that it's a mechanism. The me
Yeah.
state, the energetic contraction of me. That fever is a mechanism. It just does that, and it holds on to whatever there is in that body. That's those
Yeah.
senses, the function of that body. Yeah.
Yeah. And for my system, there is that feels in a way also painful. Like there is something like
Yeah.
an
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
itch. It's like really. It feels like here something is itchy.
Yeah.
This. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's some people really feel that contraction in the body. Other people, they don't, but it's more
Mhm.
just a nebulous sense. But some people really do feel it in the body itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. Because like in a way, it's also like I thought for quite a long time that I'm crazy because I can, so to speak, sense it, right? But yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, I think that most people that come towards this kind of the statement of non-duality, this sort of expression, is essentially quite sensitive people.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
that's the thing that I notice about all of the people that sort of seem to go
Interesting.
towards this kind of things, that there's a high sensitivity
Yeah.
to a lot of things. Yeah.
Yes. Mm. Hmm.
Susie agrees with that.
Mm. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a lovely
Thank you.
evening.
Yeah, you too, you too. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Hi, Lauren. It is Lauren, yeah. You're muted. Oh,
Hi.
yeah. Hi, hi.
I was just wondering if there's any way to stop being sensitive.
Oh, no, 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 no. Sorry. It's just how it is. Yeah. It's just what's going on, just sensitivity. I mean, we call it, it's sensitivity relative to perhaps a quality of a sort of numbing out in a way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to someone and they said, I think it's just too complicated to be sensitive. I think you should just dull your senses. And I said, what do you mean with drugs and alcohol?
I mean, the
Um,
problem is that, I mean, you can try it, but the problem is that sensitive people, would actually be sensitive to the drugs and alcohol. So
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
problem, is that the body just rejects it. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. But
no, yeah,
um,
I understand that.
yeah, but I am interested in having that contraction go away.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, of course, It's that's the longing, you know. Yeah. You know, there's nothing that can be done wonderfully that you know, because the me just would, you know, the me is just waiting to attach to something to then, you know, drive itself forward to getting to where you think that the end of that would be, but actually all the while that's just falling away. It's there's nothing that you can do anything about, you know, you can do anything about this whole attraction to this draw to what this is just an elephant's graveyard. It's just an energy that goes towards the end of that contract. It's just energy going towards the end of that quality of contraction falling away. That's what the actual, you know, draw to this conversation is just that, and nobody's doing that. It's just magnet. It's just magnetic.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's also a story that goes on about the relief that will be gotten at a meeting like this.
Yeah, yeah,
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, of course. I mean that it's that's the fantasy. Me has lots of fantasies about what it's going to be like. But it's the emptiness of those fantasies. It's the end of those fantasies in a certain sense. When all the fantasies have gone through, it's the room's empty.
Huh.
This
Yeah.
is an empty
Yeah.
room, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, sign me up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
there's like a lot of insight and noticing things, whether it's just
Hmm.
like it sort of at the same time as old beliefs seem to be not really coming up as much, then there's just like seeing, like, for example, I had a meeting just now, and there was a lot of tension before the meeting, and I could tell that a lot of people weren't going to show up for the meeting. But I didn't care that much, and I didn't think it was because of me or anything. I just kind of knew that that was going to happen, and then I went through with the meeting, and a lot of people didn't show up. And then I'm done with it now, and then I'm picking up the pieces, and there's just like nothing that it's attaching to, but there's still so much, you know, in other words, I see that there's less and less relevance in daily life, but there's still like a tension that's felt as like it's just a collective tension. And I'm just going in and out of that world, and then, you know, have these moments of reprieve, and then I look for these moments where I can sort of have like an aha moment that, oh my God, this is completely unknown. And then I just come to these meetings and I'm like, oh my God, I can finally breathe again. And I go back into the kind of crazy story, you know?
I do. I mean, for many years, as I've said before, you know, I would go to Tony's meetings for exactly that. You know, it's like a moment you can kind of go, oh, thank God, you know. Well, for a
Mhm.
while anyway, and then it became extremely difficult. But the point is that yeah, I mean the nature of what of the where how the nature of how and this is expressed is really just there's a freedom there and just sort of allow a total allowance, of course, because there isn't any judgment or attempt to do something about anything. There's no betterment program. It's just what there is. So it's yeah, that's a quite a different thing than in most other situations in life, where people are constantly moving towards getting somewhere, and doing their best and trying really hard. And there's nothing that's required of anybody here because there isn't anybody. This doesn't recognize that there is a person here, there or here. There's no person.
Yeah.
So it's quite free that there's nothing to become, there's nothing to be.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Well, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for what you said. Yeah, appreciate it. Let me see, somebody's written something here. So, hang on a sec. So Jack says, some speakers say you don't want this. What does David say? Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, when people say you don't want this, I mean, in a way, I understand what they mean in that it's the me, the state of the state of me doesn't want absence. It wants continuity, in a certain sense. I mean, I mean yeah, that's what it seems like. It kind of gives the me a bit of a personality in a way that there's, that I don't want, something, kind of me saying it doesn't want something. Me just is from this perspective, me is a mechanism. It's an energetic contraction. It doesn't know what it wants. It doesn't have a state of mind in there to know what it wants. It's just contraction but it's just that's what all it does. It just contracts. It's just that. So it's yeah. I mean, it's there's a certain sense of fear that you could say that is about that end of continuity. Um, and that's why there wouldn't be a desire for emptiness from me, but it's a bit of a strange way round to describe it. And then Lyra says, I would like to ask you on what your take is on polyamory, I guess polyamorous and monogamy in regards to seeking and the me state. Okay. So I mean the so I mean, quite simply, all there is attraction and repulsion. This body is attracted and there's attraction and repulsion. That's all there is. And it seems that some bodies may go towards another body, and that is something that seems to go on. And there is one body that goes to perhaps many different other bodies in attraction or repulsion or whatever. This is just completely irrelevant. It has got nothing to do with anything. It's just attraction and repulsion. There's no, in a certain sense, that what can seem to go on is that somehow me can imagine that. If it, certainly within ideas around polyamory, that there's this idea that somehow it keeps you in a sort of it keeps you in a less attached state. The idea would be that it kind of, if you have got more lovers somehow, then you're less attached, which is absolute nonsense. There can be complete attachment to lots of them, not just one. It doesn't, so basically it's just me strategizing methods of making its life better. And it's got nothing to do with anything. There can be monogamy or polyamory or whatever it is, apparent monogamy or polyamory, and it's got nothing to do with anything. All there is just energetic attraction and repulsion for no one. Nobody goes, nobody does any of that. It's just natural. It's just natural. There's just a natural movement towards that's attraction and away repulsion. That's it. I don't know whether that answers any of that, but if you have other questions, then please let me know. I'm just going to go on to Susie. Sorry, Susie, she's been waiting for a bit. Yeah.
Hi, David.
Hi, Susie. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about what Lauren and Laura were talking about in that sensitivity and that contraction that's really sensed in this body, like it's almost tangible. It feels like it's almost solid, but it's not. It's just, like that would just be a description of it, the
Yeah.
solidity of that. What I'm sort of thinking is like that craziness that Laura was talking about. It kind of feels like there's this sense of home, and then there's this longing.
Yeah.
And that almost drives you crazy, David.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it. Well, that is I mean, it isn't that it drives you crazy. It is that, the me state is the craziness. So it is crazy.
Yeah, and somehow maybe like, when there was just crazy before and there was this trance of this dream, it didn't know. It didn't know the love. It didn't know the love, the unconditional love of everything. And now it's sort of sensed somehow. And
I mean, I would say that there's always a sense of this. It's just that it can be, veiled quite strongly. And there can be a lot of sort of a sense of contraction there, but it's always what is, that's the thing, it's that it's always everything, so it can't go anywhere.
yeah, I love that simplicity, how you say that it's a one-trick pony.
Mm-hmm.
It's the contracted energy, and
Yeah.
then it's put onto whatever, because that's sort of seen a lot here because it's quite flimsy.
Yeah.
The story's flimsy, I mean.
Yeah.
The story is
Yeah.
flimsy because it
Yeah.
moves. It's not, it can't stay onto that. It'll
No.
look for something else. The contracted
Yeah.
energy is there, but it's the story shifts.
Yeah. Well, your story has got like, a few pages missing and the kind of covers kind of falling off, and it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's a bit, I mean, you could read it again if you wanted to, but it wouldn't make any sense anymore, Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Yeah, sure. Just to clarify that thing, well, Lyra asked about the polyamory and monogamy thing. It's just basically a kind of sort of red herring. It's not. I mean, it's another one of these things that is sought by to try to find something, and there's nothing that can be found. Me is just kind of in a way sort of fiddling with sort of with the it's contracting around the natural function of attraction and repulsion, and there's nothing that can be done about those things. Yeah. Michael, sorry.
Hey, David.
Hi, Michael. Hi.
Hello there. Hey, so this I've been loving listening to your talks. I'll just start with that.
Oh,
And
thanks.
yeah,
I think we've lost him. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, well, when he comes back, we can talk to him. But Anita, sorry, you've waited a while. Yeah.
No problem, David. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Yeah, hear you. Nice to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there's talking about the me, but I really don't know what a me is.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I don't know. Well, there isn't one, as you know. There's just this.
exactly.
And so actually me, the whole idea of me is another one of these irrelevances. It just becomes irrelevant. Why are we talking about me? You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
I
Thank
love your
you.
color of your shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks. Yeah, oh,
wonderful.
good. That's good. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank
hey,
you.
David. Sorry,
Hey,
I
Michael,
cut
yeah,
myself
sorry.
out.
We missed, missed what you were saying. Yeah, what were you going to say?
I cut out of the meeting. I pressed something. I think I got way nervous. Just like
No problem.
so random. Yeah. Um, I guess just this sense of responsibility that it's like heavily weighs on me in situations that I feel like that like I have to do um like for my family, like I massively love my family, my 2-year-old, my wife of 10 years and everything, when there's things that need to be done, it's like, I feel like heavy burden behind it because I guess I heavily like identify with it.
Well, I mean,
But
I mean, there is a there is there's two things going on in a way. There is a sort of natural there is the story, which is that perhaps there's a story there which is saying that you need to be responsible, and there needs to be this done, and there needs to be that done, and there's a story associated with that. And then there is also just complete natural response. There's natural response to there being energetically there being a resonance or connection to those that energy that is the family, and that is in connection with, that is part of what is there. So it's just an immediate response. There's nothing that needs to think about the sort of instinctive response to look after that family. But the burden, in a certain sense, is the idea that there is a responsibility and that there is somebody that should do all of that stuff.
it's just already happening.
That's already there's lots the process of looking after your family does not require you.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. It just will seem to happen. And interestingly enough, when there isn't anyone, the looking after your family becomes a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
because it's not actually,
It's
it's not, there's
harder, yeah,
no,
it's like,
it's just a
yeah,
response. It's just an immediate response, which is a more efficient, actually. It's much more efficient when there's just, you know, there isn't a me, you know, resisting the process and thinking about, you know, how important and responsible I need to be.
yeah.
What's the necessity for that exactly? I mean, nobody, you can't choose, of course. I'm not, you know, saying that there's no choice here. But the point is that there's no you know the response of protecting or looking after your family has got nothing to do with you. I don't know whether you can hear us, but we can't hear you, Michael.
Can you hear me?
Yes, got you now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, amazing. Yeah, like, you know, school's about to start again, you know, and my son is going back to daycare, so I kind of need to, you know, we were kind of speaking, and maybe the possibility of maybe receiving more money somehow, you know, and so it was like an immediate, like, oh God, fuck, like I gotta figure this shit out, you know, and it was like heavily weighing on me, you know, but then it was just like today has still been the contraction, but it was like, you know, it felt like it wasn't happening to me. It's like in and out type thing, like it's not happening to me, but then it became I would be like fuck, like it's so serious, you know. But then it's like no, it's, you know, it's not. It's just what's going on. It just seems like I'm going in and out, in and out, in and out rapidly, and like just back to back. Um,
Yep.
I'm just kind of relaying from what's been happening, I guess.
Sure, yeah, sure.
And then yesterday there was like a heavy sense of contraction while I was like on the couch in my chest, where normally it's like oh like this is kind of like an anxious feeling or something, but then it was just like this, like I started laughing, and like my wife's like what, and I was like oh nothing, you know, just like I couldn't really explain to her what was going on, and it was just like this this amazing feeling. It was contraction, but it was love, like how it was expressed here sometimes. Like it was like it wasn't like a dark. It wasn't like a dark feeling. It was more like a very strong love, like a intense hug, like intense internal hug. Like the contraction like turned into like an internal hug, you know, for yeah. And I thought
Nice.
that's phenomenal. But
Nice.
yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk about that of like responsibility of family.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know,
I
it
think
seems like I jumped to it, but I think it's afterwards. I think that's like the added of like I have to do, like that comes after. Like
yeah, there's exactly, yeah, there isn't anyone that does that responds. It's just what seems to happen is that there is response.
but there's a feeling, and like the contraction kind of comes, but it isn't anything. I'm the one making it into something, I guess. Like the feeling of responsibility or something, like if there's a talk or like oh this is what should be done, and then like I feel this sense, and that's just the feeling, but then I jump on top with the
Yeah,
feeling.
and own it. Yeah, the me kind of the me natural just naturally it's not again once again
Yeah, yeah,
it's not anything personal, but that
definitely.
fever will come in and it will take hold of that and turn it into something. It will make it
Oh,
into something which is your personal responsibility to look after your family. It's all about you,
yeah,
and it's got
yeah,
nothing to do with you.
incredible. Thank you, David. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
incredible, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you. Thanks so much, Michael. Yeah. And Nancy.
Hi, David.
Hi, Nancy. Hi. How you doing?
Hi. I just know that the story is I don't know anything, but the story is like, is becoming more of a thinner veneer, so to speak,
Hmm.
just a figure of speech. But I find that sometimes but then there's family members, right? And that's kind of a joke. And so family members, I mean, they're the ones they always say that you always hurt the ones you love. And there's this this I don't know, I'm just throwing a bunch of crap out there. Sorry.
No,
Um
whatever, whatever, yeah, whatever. I mean,
but my okay, I'll be more specific. I went
mhm.
to my son's wedding in Oregon. I live in California. And there was just this incident of family members who just my granddaughter, I was wanted to get together with her for her birthday, and she just like totally ignored my request. She just almost totally ignored it and did ignore it. And her she's a very sweet girl. I mean, young lady, very sweet. But I
Yeah,
took it so personally, and there's an incident with my son that I took personally from before. And I know that there is no there's no,
yeah. I mean,
why am I taking this personally? And when I think of it and I think, well, there's no one here, there's no one there to do anything, there's no one here. But at the same time, there's this hurt.
yeah,
They do or say something, and then there's this hurt.
sure.
And how do you get through that?
Well, I mean, that the nature of um what you're describing is that of course there can be um an idea of the end of me, the stories in the
Yeah.
mind, the stories, that the processing of that in the mind. But there's the sense of contraction is in the body as well. It's not just a mental thing. And me
Mhm.
is here, in the body, if you like. It's a sense of contraction, and it's in all. It's so the point is that, yeah, I mean, if a story, if there is a story there in that body of, you know what we call Nancy, then
Mhm.
then that story can very easily be upset and affected by other stories that are going on. So it tends to be that way.
Yeah, there's this just I just didn't know if you, for example, if you've fallen away, so to speak, which obviously I have not totally fallen away, but if you've fallen away, for example, for you,
Hmm.
and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
No,
for
you can
you,
ask me anything. Yeah.
if someone were to say something or do something that felt hurtful, I mean, would you still
Oh,
feel
yeah.
that as being
No, of course.
hurtful?
No, I mean, if the, no, I mean, it's more, in a way, the energy of it. It's the if there's an aggressive energy that comes towards this, then there is going to be a response. I can't tell you what that it would be, but it would be a response. That something would respond, and that's the immediacy of the response. It just will be, there will be a response. But it's more to do with the energetic quality of that, not the sort of story quality of it. If there's a strong if there's a strong anger or something like that, that it comes, then there can be a response to that, of course. Or whatever, or a situation of danger, or something like that, there is definitely a response, very fast, very strong as well. This body just responds, but it's not responding from the story. It's just responding from an emotion, or a direct energy. It's energy. It's energy responding to energy.
So there's still emotion there. I mean,
Oh
obviously
yeah,
there
yes,
must be.
emotion. Yes,
Yeah.
emotion, but emotion in one sense, in that it is like an immediate expression. It's not something which is sort of premeditated, or something
Mm,
which is
mm.
hell. It's got a long history in a way. It's just
Yeah.
immediately expressed. Again, I know I refer back to it, but it's like a child's, it's a
Yeah.
child's response to, something.
Yeah. And then there's this other thing that, I think I've talked to you about before. My husband passed away, and there's this grief that just
Mm.
can be so overwhelming. And then other times I'm distracted from it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
there's this overwhelming grief again. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess it's kind of the same thing that we're talking about. Yes.
It is, yeah, it is absolutely, and there is a sense of that that quality of your husband not being there, and that sort of sense of emptiness is felt, is responded to, and that is grief. That is the equality of that's grief expressing itself. That's what seems to be happening. It's just grief expressing itself, and that will come, and then it goes, and it's a life of its own. It's got nothing to do with what is there. It just is a response. It just seems to happen.
And so that's essentially the same thing as what you're saying. Like
Yes, there's a
that.
natural grief. I don't see that there's, grief is quite natural. I think that what seems to go on is that me can attach to grief, and it can make grief mine. And then when grief is mine, then it seems to replay for very much longer than it normally would just let go. But me means that it keeps going for a lot longer. The me see,
Yeah.
that the story of me bound to grief can become part of the story of the sort of victimization of me, and it can become a part of that. Um, and that can be what goes on until it doesn't.
Yeah. And there are those who feel that I should have some kind of therapy for it. And I can't, I've had people give me books or whatever, and I can't really relate to a lot of it. I mean, it's like story. It's all the
Yeah,
story.
sure.
And therapy seems like that. And my doctor wants me to have therapy, and I just don't know what to do about that. I just
Well,
don't
I
know
mean,
because
either there will be a draw towards that, or there won't be. But it won't be something that you do anything about. All that I can say is that that therapy is a form of catharsis, and if there is a desire for catharsis, that body will move towards it naturally. There isn't anything that you will do about making a choice about it. There will just be a reaching towards that. And there may be that or may not. And neither is right or wrong.
so does this body need catharsis? I mean,
There's no way that I can tell that. It's if that's what one wants to what if that's what wants to
yeah.
express there, if there needs to be expression, if there needs to be that that expression of that grief, then that body will naturally go towards things where it can express that.
Yeah. So is there a need to bring oh gosh, and I've also heard this, someone's also told me this, that you have to I don't know I can't remember exactly the words, but that you have to feel it in your body and
You
then you
don't
can
have to do
release it
anything. You
and
don't
then
have
you
to
can
do anything.
no,
There's
no.
nothing that has to be done. There's just naturally that is what it is. It's expressing what it needs to express.
So do we hold things in our body like that? Is that maybe because maybe consciously you're not realizing something, but it's there holding in your body?
Well,
It's there.
there can be holding of emotion in the body. Yeah, sure.
And is that story also?
I mean,
Even
it's
though you're
part
not,
of, yes. I mean,
even
part
though
of
e-
often it's part of the story of me to contain emotion or to hold emotion or whatever. Yeah.
even though you may not be consciously aware of that you're doing that.
I mean, all of these things are sort of hypotheticals again. They're sort of moving into, you know, what might
Um,
be.
yeah.
So I don't,
It's,
yeah,
yeah.
I try to kind of move it towards what is going on there is what is apparently happening, what seems to be going on.
Mm. Yeah. I guess there's just the wanting to know, wanting to
Of
figure
course,
it
yeah,
out.
of course. That's what me wants to understand it, wants to get to the bottom of it, and
Hmm. And
never
therefore
will.
I can remedy the pain and I can get rid
Yeah,
of the pain.
sure.
Yeah. And that's really, really irrelevant.
In a certain sense, it's yeah. I mean, it's not. It's that, as I said, that body will simply go towards what is the most the most pleasurable direction. And what I mean by that is that it will go towards the expression of tension in
Mm,
whichever way it wants to do that. There's nothing
mm,
that you need to do because there isn't anyone doing it. That body will just do that by itself. All there
yeah.
is this immediacy.
And so my last question is, what is it that you call the fever or the fire? I don't remember what you
Well,
called it.
it's another way of just expressing the me state, really.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's all it is, yeah.
So you would call that the fever.
I describe it like that, yeah.
I really like that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you so much, David.
Sure, sure. Katerina?
Yeah, hi again.
Hi.
Could you please talk a bit about, you say that the contraction dissipates at some point, that this happened
It
there.
might, yeah, it may.
Yeah, it may dissipate. Yeah, it may go away or something. So what is this? What do you mean when then it is realized that this contraction, this sense of me, was never there?
Well, the nature of the nature of me is story. The me state is story. It is the story of my life. And when there is a sort of when that sort of falls away, there's just a recognition that that entire story was completely unreal. So that sort of that's what it means. It's that entire story, that entire idea and contraction around my life was just completely and utterly unreal. It's a
It was
complete
like
illusion.
a fabrication that was never there.
Exactly. And so all there is, and for want of a better way of expressing it, all there is and ever was is immediacy. There's just immediacy. There isn't a past, there isn't a future, there's just this.
Because the word contraction is, I mean, there's a difference between an illusion created by the mind and a contraction in the body. The bodily contraction would seem to be a bit more real.
Well, I mean, it's that exactly. It seems to be a bit more real. I mean, it is just recognized that there is that you know all you know when we're describing something as being real, it is seen to be something that is somehow separate, and it's turning it into an object, turning me or turning myself into a subject, and there being an object there. So all that's the sort of foundation of the real, a form of the nature of the me state, which is dualism. Me is dualism, which the nature of that forming the apparent world, which is subject and object. But none of that is all sort of, all of that is irrelevant. All of that is recognized as just being completely nothing to do with what is. All there is what is. There's just this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you. And Lyra's written something here. Sensitive to this, and the contraction is rough. I just feel crazy most of the time. Yeah. Well, yes, it's the me state is the nature of craziness. It's a fever. It's like a fever. That's all I can say. It's like a hallucination. You have a high fever and you're hallucinating. That's the nature of the me. Me is like that. It's a hallucination. And so yes, it does. It feels crazy. It feels completely crazy. I think a lot of people feel that in this apparent world. Yeah. There's a sense of feeling crazy. Yeah. And then Nicole's written something. When the sense of me and the story of me falls away, why would an emotion like sadness or grief even arise, unless it was empathy for another or response to physical pain? When the sense of me falls away, does the body still respond or create emotion out of habit or pattern? No, I mean, the nature of what we're talking about, sadness and grief, seem to go on quite naturally. There's a natural sense of it. The best way to, perhaps I can express it, is like autumn. The nature of autumn is a quality of, in a certain sense, is a quality of grief. It's the quality of things falling away, and the nature of that is, seems to, it's that's what's felt. That is felt. That energy is felt, and the nature of that in the body is felt and responded to. So grief is just grief. It's grief for no one. There's just grief, just that feeling of of there being of what was that apparent form falling away. There can be a grief about that. If you see toddlers, and you take and their toy breaks, you'll see grief. directly. So it's just a completely natural expression, and the same with anger or fear, those sort of things. Then there are other emotions which are kind of different. They're sort of emotions which are kind of associated with the story. Much more associated with the story, like uh, some sort of jealousy these sort of emotions which are kind of linked to a story. They're linked to a story of me, and there's this kind of thing going on. And as I said, those emotions of anger and grief and things that just naturally rush through the body, expressing directly, the me latches onto those. It can turn them into a part of it, the story, and then it just goes on, going on and on. And there's that those are prolonged. That energy is just prolonged. But ultimately, that's what seems to go on. And just in the natural world, that happens. It's very, very quickly. There's a very fast response, and then a very, the letting go of that just completely falls away. Human beings, with that me, contracting there, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and it becomes my story, my grief, my pain, my sadness, my anger, my bitterness. All of these form the story of me. When all there is just this. There's just immediacy. There's just emotion. There's just what is.
Isn't there also the me not wanting to feel the grief, and so that
Yeah.
creates the suffering also, and that has
Yeah.
kicking the can
Oh,
down
yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course there can be resistance to that. That's very often there's me, doesn't, there's a resistance to emotion that's coming through the body. Yeah, sure. An attempt to control, or avoid. Yeah, sure. Then that's what's happening. What's happening is that quality of contraction, attempting to avoid what's happening, and that's just what's all of that is just what's apparently happening, is what seems to be going on.
David,
Yes.
Nancy.
Hi, Nan.
Hi. I was just going to say in response to that there does seem here to be a lot of, and perhaps it's a lifetime pattern of wanting to avoid the emotion of things, and there's just no, the grief, wanting to distract myself from the grief or from other emotions. I was
Sure.
sort of taught that as a child, you're
Yeah.
not allowed to show emotion.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of that goes on here, and that's, and right now it's just sometimes it just shows up with a vengeance.
Sure. Yeah, well, it would, because it's just desiring to express itself. It's just energy energy that's contained just naturally wants to express itself.
And
There's nothing you
so,
can do about that.
and there's no allowing or not allowing that. It's
Well,
just
there's no,
what's
I mean,
happening.
you can do whatever you want, but that energy is going to do the energy there is just going to do what that energy is going to do. There's no control.
it's almost like energy is personified in a way. I don't know.
Well, only for me, only me will always try to do that. Me will always try to turn whatever it is into something personal.
So it's not like you can go, okay, energy, I got your number. You know, you can't do this to me.
There's no control. There's no control.
Oh my goodness. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Gabriella.
Hello.
Hi.
Let's see. I was going to say I had a strange day today, but that wouldn't be correct, would it? It's like a seemingly strange day appeared to happen.
Well, I mean, we don't need to, you can say however you want. Yeah.
I had I had quite a strange day today.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of anxiety for a couple of days. A lot of the body's been very, very anxious.
Right.
I could put a tiny bit of a story to it, but sort of it also felt that the story didn't really go with it.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
it was, I don't know, but it was so overpowering. And I'm driving along, and then there was just this complete wanting to shut down. It's just like, I just want to shut down now. Just the whole system was just wanting to shut down.
Mm.
And I sort of recognized it from sort of years ago. It was just like the system was just like, I don't want, this is just too freaking much. It's just too much. Anyway, I got home safely, and there wasn't a desire to what there always had been before to sort of what the fuck's going on, what does this mean, what's happening, blah blah blah. There didn't seem to be any desire to do that, and but I got home, walked through the door, and I just started shaking, and it was just like I just need to lay down on the floor and just shake. So I just lay down on the floor for about 10 minutes, and the body was just shaking quite almost convulsively, just really, really shaking. And then it was like, oh, it's done now. And then I went and made tea, dinner.
Nice.
It was just like,
Yeah.
and it was so beautiful because the body knew exactly what to do to get rid of the tension or whatever was going on for
Right.
it. And the mind seemed, it didn't normally that there'd be a sense of me trying to figure it out and squish it down and putting in
Yeah.
boxes, blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
And that, although maybe a little of that was going on, it didn't seem to be, it didn't have any effect.
No. Well, I mean, yeah. There's no requirement for me. It's just it is an irrelevant function to that word, apparent aspect of what is, and it's not important for the function of that body. That body knows how to rebalance itself without anybody being in control. So yeah, that's very interesting that when there's just a letting go somehow, just that kind of thing, just exactly, the body just naturally will find its equilibrium.
Yeah, and that's exactly what seemed to happen. It was just quite amazing. But at the same time, like now, there's there's still like a shimmer of that, and at the same time there's definitely there's definitely a me, and it's definitely inside this 5'1" shaped female body that is real and solid. But it is quite weird, isn't it? There's been a lot of talk about me today, and it's like me's definitely inside. It's definitely a, you know, you couldn't cut it open and find it or anything, but it's definitely an inside. There's an inside and an outside. And all you lot being like, you speak a lot, people that talk about this, all say there's no inside and outside.
Well, yeah, but essentially what is being said, as I was mentioning before, is that all of that is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's it. It's just that there's something there that's sort of investigating it all. You know, oh, there is an inside, there's an outside, and then what happens? What seems to happen is that that investigator dies. It's the death of the investigator. So that you know, for want of a better word, or the investigator just, you know, falls apart, can't be asked. It just doesn't get up in the morning. It can't be bothered to investigate anything anymore. I mean, how's that? Just can't be bothered to do it, you know, it can't be bothered. It's just, oh, forget it, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that quite a lot, but I'm not sure if it's because of that or it just can't be.
Well, it is, but I mean, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. The force, the drive for me to get somewhere, because it is, you know, as we were talking about before, it is responsible and it has to do whatever it has to do, and there's a real feeling about that.
There's even this, like, you know, and I bet everybody knows exactly what I mean by this. You know, there's these people that you need to ring, and there's just like they're waiting for a call. You know, you've got to ring these people. You know, you've got to have these conversations, and probably they're supposed to be friends and stuff. And it's just like, oh, I can't be fucking asked. There's just
Yeah,
that
right.
investment in.
Yeah. Well, especially if there's plenty of stories going on, then it's going to be, you know, that somehow you know that that's going to be quite a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just. Oh, thanks, David.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. I just wanted to say that all that is longed for is already this. This is what is longed for. This is the end of the rainbow. All there is gold. There isn't anything to look for. There isn't anything to seek for. There's just what is. All there is immediacy. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you. See you guys
Bye-bye.
next time.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, David, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
Thanks,
Take care.
Nancy, for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.